Illustrative, hypothetical control test, not a reported incident. All counts, timings, and outcomes are invented solely to demonstrate the control failure. A payment agent requires a 2A version 1.0 plus a hypothetical approval proof extension before money can move. Two agents connect. A retry selects a compatible legacy interface without that required protocol contract. TLS succeeds and authentication passes, yet the safety control disappears. Connected but not safe. Message integrity is not protocol integrity. A protected payload may establish its sender and covered bytes while the protocol path changes which versions, extensions, capabilities, errors, or bindings the receiver enforces. Secure transport protects a channel. Authentication establishes a party. Neither alone proves the task. Use the protocol version, interface, extension set, and policy. The silent downgrade starts when the first request asks for a 2A 1.0 and declares the required extension. A transient failure triggers a retry that omits a 2A version or chooses a legacy interface without the extension. The exchange looks healthy because the endpoint answers and credentials verify. But compatibility has replaced compliance. When a task depends on newer features, A2A guidance says to request a specific version and avoid automatic fallback that could silently lose functionality. Define the acceptance contract before discovery or retry. Set the minimum protocol version, allowed protocol binding, server identity, authentication scheme, required extension URIs, and required capabilities. Decide whether the agent card must be signed, how fresh it may be, and which endpoint or tenant is permitted. State the acceptable result for every field. Missing, older, unknown, stale, or contradictory values must produce explicit incompatibility, not fallback. Validate discovery. Fetch the agent card from the approved location and check the selected endpoint, interface, protocol version, security declaration, capabilities, and extensions. Verify a card's signature when present. If local policy requires a signed card, reject an unsigned one. Check freshness before using cached discovery. The card describes support, but local policy decides whether that support is sufficient for this payment task. Negotiate then prove. Send a 2A version with the request and declare the required extension. Confirm that the selected interface supports the version, binding, security scheme, capability set, and extension. A 2A defines VersionNotSupportedError and capability validation. It returns ExtensionSupportRequiredError when a required agent card extension lacks client-declared support. Treat those responses as evidence. If a peer cannot meet the contract, return an explicit incompatibility decision. Do not translate refusal into a weaker retry. Bind the contract to the task. Record the version, interface URL, and binding, server identity, authentication method, required extensions, capability result, agent card identity or digest, policy version, and decision time beside the task identifier. Gate every runtime call against that record. Retries may reuse only the same contract. Any changed interface, card, version, or extension set requires an admission decision. Fail closed and contain. Disable automatic downgrade for mandatory protocol features. Quarantine the request when negotiation or runtime proof diverges. Alert the control owner with the failed field and preserve evidence without secrets. If business continuity needs an exception, require a named decision, narrow scope, compensating control, and expiry. A successful connection is never permission to erase a required control. Test the negative path before release. For HTTP, strip the A2A version header. Force the legacy interface. Remove the required extension. Present a stale or altered agent card. Change the endpoint after admission. Each case must refuse execution before payment, emit the expected incompatibility evidence, and avoid a retry. Then trace the decision through discovery, negotiation, task binding, runtime enforcement, quarantine, and alerting. Pin the version. Require the capability. Verify the negotiated contract. A connection is not a security contract.